Welcome to Permission to Kick Ass, a podcast about leaving self-doubt in the dust, punching fear in the face, and taking bold action toward your biggest dreams. I'm Angie Coley, and let's get to it. Hey, and welcome back to Permission to Kick Ass. With me today is my new friend, Ashleigh Chanel. Say hi.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. This is exciting.
I'm so happy to see you because, okay, I have to, we're going to go on a little detour right from the very start here. Ashleigh and I had our first one-to-one Zoom call yesterday, just as a get to know you. And we wound up spending twice the amount of time that we actually booked on the calendar, just ranting and raving and having all kinds of fun. So I'm so excited for how this show is going to go. I know the energy is going to be there. With that in mind, tell us about your business.
Okay. My business is called Make Your Mark. And I named it that because I wanted to help people make their mark on whatever it is that they wanted to make their mark on, whether that be their audience, whether that be the world or their community. It is a digital marketing agency where we help business owners scale their business in the easiest way possible, utilizing ads and funnel building so that they can do what they want, when they want, how they want, and live their best and bougiest life.
Best and bougiest life. Yes. How did you it's easy for a lot of us to fall into digital marketing these days, I think, but what led you to make your mark best and bougiest life? That is so wonderfully specific and I love it. What led you there?
Because I wasn't specific before. So I feel like when I was 8 years old, I think I knew I was going to be a marketer because my mom is a psychologist. She's in HR. So I was taking all of the what are they? The assessments, personality assessments. So Myers-Briggs. I knew my Myers-Briggs when I was 8, type situation. And it hasn't changed because I've taken it again. But I'm an ENTJ, if anyone's wondering, with some I tendencies, because sometimes I need a minute. But that's why I think I'm an ambivert. But anyway, so I got my undergrad degree in marketing and entrepreneurship, and 2 minors in sales and global business. I'm an overachiever. And then I got my MBA in global marketing and global finance. And as I was going through my business, I was I never fully leaned into what was important to me. And what was important to me was being able to live the life that I really wanted to live. And what was important to me was being able to live the bougie life that I wanted and the best life that I wanted, which we talked about yesterday, but I go between wanting to live my island girl life where I'm just barefoot all the time on the beach, just listening to the ocean waves. And then the other side where I want to be my jet setting, Manhattan living, jet setting over to Milan, Monaco type of life. And so I was that I can do both. I can have the life that I want. And I wanted to make sure that I attracted the people who were not scared to say they were in business for money. They weren't scared to be who they were and who were just great energetic people. So that is kind of where it all came along.
I love that. You touched on some really great things. And I love how these topics seem to come up in the universe at the same time, because I was just talking to some of my coaching students about these same things, feeling guilt over making money, especially if they have a product that serves an underserved market or a market that struggles with money or wealth or mental health or anything like that. There's a lot of guilt and a lot of pressure to be this altruistic, give it all away type person, instead of making money. But you started a business to make money. So let's remember the main focus here. We're going to help people while making a living. And then the other one was this idea of, same thing. I love my community. My community is a little bit depressed right now. I want to help some local business owners. So I'm really thinking that they can afford $10 max for this workshop I'm doing. And I would tell them, I could see the shook look on her face when I said, so why are you spending their money? Why are you opening their wallet? Do you have access to their bank account? And I'm not trying to be mean when I say that, but even if somebody has laid bare their soul and told you all of their financial woes, it is never the full picture of what they have to spend and what they're willing to spend to solve certain problems. And we all know, folks, like everybody listening, you probably know somebody who is a broke ass who still bought a brand new TV because they were feeling depressed. I know somebody who was like, she was so burned out and overworked that on a whim, like she flew off to Hawaii, even though she couldn't afford it. So there are people out there spending money that technically can't afford it, or you might think that they can't afford it, but they've got money set aside for this specific thing. Don't spend other people's money, and don't deny yourself the joy of making a living from helping people solve the problem that you solve.
Yeah, I love those points. One of them for me, last year, I mean, I hired a coach and the monthly payment was $3,500. And I honestly didn't know where she was going to get that $3,500 from over the 4 months. I have had no clue where she was getting that money from, but she got it. Somehow she got it. That money was available every single month. So I thank you, God, for all of that. But I did not know how I was going to give her that money or where that money was coming from. And then also, I think it's so important that there's a lot of things to go deep on, I feel like, when it comes to pricing for people who can afford it, because we started a business so that we could help the masses. Typically, we want to come in and we want to help the masses and we price accordingly, but that does not allow us to sustain our lives or live a better life than we were already living. And if anything, it actually takes us down a few notches on the life we're living when we price according to what we think these people can afford. So I think it's really important and obviously you can create a business on a membership level and on low ticket products and services, but it just takes volume. And so if you don't even have the budget to get the volume, it's going to be very difficult. So that's why I do encourage people to go higher on what their products and services are so that they can gather the capital that they need to hire the people they need to hire so that then they can come back and serve the audience that really kind of inspired them from the beginning. And also there are other things you can do, like volunteer for the chambers and for their entrepreneur associations or for other, that's what I've done. And it's very fulfilling to do that. So I think it's like you said, we need to stop spending other people's money.
Oh man, I'm rapidly writing notes. I love so much of what you're saying. And here are a few things that I want to highlight for everybody listening. One is that investing in yourself, even when you don't necessarily know where the money is going to come from, and then trusting yourself to figure that out. I have a lot of money blocks and value blocks that I have been actively working on undoing, especially in the last several years. Looking back on my life, every time that I've faced a potential money shortfall or I didn't think that I was going to make it, the money somehow came. Despite all of my anxiety and my worry and my existential dread and my judgments of myself as a failure, the money happened. And it really became clear to me one year when I issued a challenge to myself. I'm going to keep it anonymous. There was a member of my family who has always been very, very supportive of me, even when they didn't understand what the hell I was doing. Even when I didn't understand what the hell I was doing. And everybody else was like, just get a job, any job. But they said to me, and I specifically remember this, I don't necessarily understand what you're doing, but I don't have to understand. If anybody can figure it out, you can. And that was that little nugget of faith that I needed to borrow from someone for a while so that I could go build what I needed to build. Yeah, right? Borrowing faith from people.
Seriously.
And so I love Disney. That's no secret. Talked about that openly on this show before. And I really wanted to take this person to Disney World, and I knew that they would never pay for themselves. So I challenged myself to, can I raise the money? Can I come up with something that doesn't come out of my own personal pocket and pay for taking them to Disney? Long story short, I absolutely did. But I had to commit to that thing first versus seeing whether I could raise the money and then making the commitment. Something about putting your money where your mouth is, even if you don't have the money, forces you to come up with it.
Yeah, there are a couple points there that are really cool. that I didn't think about, but I actually thanked someone yesterday for that. And it's borrowing their faith, because I was telling a story about someone yesterday and explaining her situation and how she said that she felt broken. And I was like, I remember feeling like that because I know I'm intelligent. I know I have the education and I know I have the experience, but something inside of me is lying to me. And I don't know what it is, but the faith that he's had in me and the faith that my friends have had, it's really beautiful. But then also I didn't know where that money was coming from, but I was also borrowing the faith from the coach that I hired, because I believed in her. And I believed what I believed was that she could help me get to where I wanted to be. And she did. Her program promise was fulfilled. I did what I needed to do in order to achieve what I needed to achieve, which was also the belief in myself, because there were times where part of the belief issues were because I was making my clients money, but I wasn't making the money that I was making. And I was like, well, how come I can make them $30,000, but I can't make me $30,000? And so, in a month, I was making them $30,000 with ads, because ads is what I do. Right. And it's like, why can't I do it? But then my coach was explaining to me, she was like, you don't have the system set up to do that. And so that made me actually feel better. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, that's true. And I'm very hard on myself. I'm very, very hard on myself. My friends constantly say, Ashleigh, you're human. And I'm like, and ew, like, how annoying. Being human gets in the freaking way. I have stuff to do. Okay. I have things to do. And this human aspect is getting in the way.
Feelings are dumb and brains are dumb. And bodies are dumb too. Like, oh my gosh, getting into your 30s and random aches and pains. Stop it. I just want to be like a disembodied essence that haunts people. This is having a body is for the birds. Random rant aside, like I love what you're saying too, because there's two aspects to this, like pricing for affordability versus profitability, which is two different things. One is this idea of people are going to spend any way you slice it. They're going to spend time or they're going to spend money. Exactly. And the interesting thing is the more money they have, the more protective of their time they are, the more they're willing to invest in things that save them time. So odds are, even if you have an underserved market, a challenged market, there are still people within there that value their time more and are willing to invest in ways to get back their time.
Yeah, I'm actually one of those people, because like I said, I didn't know where the money was coming from, but I also had enough business acumen to know that I needed to invest. And also I didn't have infinite time, and I had to find someone. I was always willing to invest. And that's something that I found, that I felt like my business acumen or my mental business level was up here, but my actual business level was down here. And it's like, I had like a champagne business level mind without the champagne budget to get me there. And so it's like, and so that's something that I found to be very interesting. And the reason I said that was because I knew I needed to be in rooms with people who were multi 6 figures and 7 figures, but I wasn't around those people. I didn't necessarily know where they were, but I knew I needed to be around them, because the people that I was around weren't interested or were harping too long about investing in their businesses and themselves. And I was always looking at them sideways, because I was like, how else do you expect to grow? Like, you really want to sit here and do what you're doing for the next year to 2 years. I don't want to do this. I have a yacht that I want to get on, and I can't get on that yacht doing what I'm doing now.
Oh, I love that. First of all, can I ride on your yachts?
Of course.
Can I invite myself?
Absolutely.
I love that. It brought up this thought of, another thing that I've been talking about a lot this week under strange circumstances, this idea of playing not to lose versus playing to win. So I remember one mastermind that actually changed my life with this very seemingly deceptively simple question. This man asked us, how would you conduct your business differently if you knew that you had a $50,000 a month trust fund to just take care of all of your expenses and then some, and you didn't have to worry about anything? And it was a light bulb moment for most of us, because we suddenly realized, Like over here where I think that I'm risking a significant amount of the money that I'm bringing in, that I'm putting the lifestyle of choice in jeopardy, I am making very small, very fear-based, very protect what I have moves strategically in my business versus taking the big risks that are actually going to pay off, but it could be a big lose. It could be a big win. We don't know how that's going to turn out.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to spend time or they're going to spend money. So either way, if you go after the folks that are willing to invest to get back more of their time, that actually gives you more to help the folks that you're trying to help. And here's what I mean. Like here's an example of how this works in your business, right? Because I know exactly how you feel about, like, I've got this taste level up here, this lifestyle that I want to live, but my business skills need to raise to it. So if you want to make $100,000 this year, we're going to do some on the fly math. Let's see if it works out. I'm not historically a good mather. Or $100,000 next month, even.
I'll have my calculator ready.
Yes, Ashleigh's going to do the math. That's how you save a friend in a pinch. So if I want to make $100,000 next month, which is not impossible, set your sights high. I could go after 100 people at $100. Can you see the challenge there? I could close 100 people. I could get $100 from 100 people. That's probably 10,000, right? So
you need 100.
I need 1,000 people to pay me $100. So yes. It's not impossible, but it's a lot of work. And I'm going to have to onboard all those people and I'm going to send them all payments and I'm going to have to do work for all of them. Like, it's not very scalable, but it's doable.
Right.
On the other hand, if I decide that I'm going to work with 10 people at 10,000, let's see if I did the math right there.
Yep.
Then you can see how, like, even 10 people is still a little bit like unwieldy in terms of actually managing the process. But you can see how you've got a little bit more bandwidth. Now you've got the cash to bring in people to support you and you're not doing things yourself. And when you're focused on those folks that can only pay $100, like, you need to get so many more of them in the door that if you don't have that capital coming in from the higher level investors, the people that want a little bit more personalized attention. And let's be clear, that's what they're paying more for. Access to you as a person. There are no new ideas under the sun. There's just new and interesting ways to put together old ideas and new personalities. Like, they want more of you and your way of doing things and your secret sauce, and they're willing to pay for you and your shortcuts and your tools. Then you get to reinvest that in the tools and systems that allow you to give those 1,000 people their $100 product without you having to spin your wheels and lose your damn mind. Right.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. And I think it's because it's scary to it's scary to say, well, yeah, I'm going to charge you $10,000. And it's like, $10,000 for what? For what? Okay, I need to add in all these extra bonuses and things like that. And I need to add in more time and a whole bunch of coaching sessions. And I need to add in more like videos that they can watch. But I can guarantee you more is not always better. And more is definitely overwhelming, because I had a coach who gave us so much. It was a 12-week program. It ended up being like 16 or 20 weeks because she had to go to get surgery. But we did not have enough time to go through it. We would have had enough time to go through it if we were literally, that was the only thing we were doing. Like, we didn't have other things. We didn't have lives. We didn't have businesses. We could have done everything that she gave us. But we wouldn't have been able to implement everything that we were taking in. And so, more is not always better. But yes, I think it's because it's scary to, like, even for me, because I eventually want to have retreats. I want to, and I say eventually, I could technically do it now. I want to have retreats that are $30,000. And we go in and I curate the most luxurious experience for you while we get your assets together for your funnel, for your video, and we do the videography, for your photography, and we do it. We edit everything, put it together, and send it out so that you can have your passive, either launch your program or have it as evergreen and on passive. So I want to do that. And I'm saying, like, I could do that eventually, but like, when is eventually? Like, I could definitely do it now and offer and just find somebody to do it. And it's like, this would be it would be so much fun. And I know I would be in my element. So what do you think?
All right. Well, then when this goes live, everybody listening to this, we're going to put peer pressure on Ashleigh, and we're all going to save up $30,000 so that we can go on this retreat and be bougie.
Yeah, Mexico,
I love it.
Sicily, it'll be somewhere. It'll be somewhere luxurious. So don't even worry about it.
And I love all of this. Like, so this is such a good, like, unanticipated pricing and like the psychology of pricing episode. And I'm here for it. Because remember that, like, what you would spend on this goes back to the idea of, like, don't spend other people's money. The things that you find valuable and the things that other people find valuable are two different things. And so there is somebody out there that, even if they're not rich, they value, like, there are private jet rental services now that you could, like, skip all of the airport aggravation and save yourself 4 or 5 hours of time, plus all the delays and cancellations. Oh, I'm so there with you. I'm so there with you.
I cannot wait. Like, you guys will not tell me anything the day I start flying private, because I'm already over commercial flying. Yes, over it.
After my nightmare experience with Delta, and I'm a Delta loyalist, but like this summer they really dropped the ball in a big way, and I was like, man, that saving up to fly private sounds much more appealing by the day. And then there are folks who don't value that as much. They value the money, and they're willing to spend their time. So there's a reason why I'm using that word spend. And they will get the economy seat where they get nickeled and dimed and they get shuffled around and they get the middle seat and they're the last aboard and like all that stuff. They don't care as much about the time as they care about the money. So, like, you can't spend other people's money. You just can't. And then here's an interesting thing about, like, if you've got some guilt around, I need to serve this underserved market, I need to charge less. An interesting thing happens when you gift people things, especially if it's a service or like an educational tool or a coaching. That is that they have zero skin in the game. And the moment that things get hard, they're going to bail. And, you know, I've had so many copywriters over the years, I've lost count. They all reach out to me and they say, I'm willing to work for you for free in exchange for mentorship. And I will be the hardest worker that you have ever encountered. And I'm like, with all the love I have, bullshit. Yeah. Bullshit. The people that offer to work for me for free are the ones that flake the most and let me down, despite all their promises.
Because it's not a priority. Because they don't owe you anything.
Yeah. And you don't owe them anything either. Like, it's last of everybody's priority list because there's been no investment on either side. And so that's why I tell people, like, there's two ways that this could work, that you write for me and I mentor you. One is that you pay me for mentorship. You go out and find a project that you're writing for somebody and you need a second set of eyes in, and you dedicate part of that fee that you just landed to me, and I help you get that writing in order. That's one way that this could work. The other way that this could work is I have a role and I bring you on and I hire you, and as part of your education and on the job, you get mentorship for me. But either way, some way, whether you're paying me or I'm paying you, money is changing hands so that both of us have skin in the game and a commitment to deliver and not disappear.
Right. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. I love the way that you put that, because it's either one or the other or both. Yeah. And that also kind of reminds me of something I saw about paying your friends. Like, money needs to exchange hands. You know, both people need to be able to put that on their QuickBooks, right? And, you know, be able to write stuff off and things like that. So no, I love that. And I do agree that if you do not pay, you're not gonna, like, people who pay attention, right? We hear time. So yeah.
People who pay attention. Put it on a shirt, put it on a mug, remind yourself, like, this is the context that I think is missing from most of those courses that are out there preaching, charge what you're worth. Like, some people really do, because of, like, lack of context or life beating them down or whatever's happened. They do believe that they can only charge $10 and get, 10,000 people into that program to make that work. But by the same token, your work is not your worth. Your life experience is not your worth. If you challenged yourself to come out of your comfort zone and go, okay, there are people out there that are spending $10,000, $100,000 on this problem. Where are they, and what does success look like to them? Like, what is a successful project that I could charge $100,000 for? Do I think I could do that? Like, the answers are out there if you go search for them. It's just that it's deeply, deeply uncomfortable to deal with those money narratives in the process.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? A few things that you said, one of them about searching for them. One of the things that I found, and a lot of things are coming to my mind at the same time, but one of the things that I found was that I thought it was so strange that as an entrepreneur, how are you not resourceful?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one is here. Nobody owes you answers. Like, a lot of people think things are unfair, but it's like, go find the answer. Go find the answer. You have to be resourceful. And if I wanted to know how people are coming up, like, and as we're talking, I have a friend, Christine, that I'm going to, and she has a new podcast, a podcast studio and video studio. And I know that she's charging, I think around 20 or 30,000 for content creation. And I know that the offer that I just said that I wanted to create is more than just what is more than what she's doing. So I'm going to go ask her, what does your offer look like? And she's going to be willing to talk to me about it. And that's another thing that I was talking about talking about yesterday was the fact that you need to curate the people around you to who are giving. Because when I was in school, I was in the number one entrepreneurship program in the country. And we had millionaires coming to speak with us, millionaires who were CEOs and started businesses come to speak with us every Tuesday. And they were the most generous people I have ever met. People think that the only people gatekeeping are the people who are like either on the same level as you or maybe a little bit higher who don't want you to get there, or people who are like doing less than what you're doing. Nobody who is living the lives that they want to live is gatekeeping the information. And it's weird that people do that. But also to your point about the paying, whether you're going to invest time or money, I am not a DIYer, because you were talking about interior design. There are people who will DIY the F out of some stuff. Yeah. I look at them and I am in awe of what they create on Instagram and TikTok, but that is not me. Like, there is a headboard that I want, but it's also like a few $1,000s. And I'm like, maybe I could buy this. I mean, maybe I could make this. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, the amount of effort that is going to take and time that's going to take. I was like, I might be proud of myself, which is cool. That's real cool. But I'm like, I would have to figure out ways to make it easier, like going to Home Depot and making sure that they cut the boards and they put the holes in it. But all I have to do is put the fabric on top. Like, it's just like, I would rather pay for it, but also there is something called value alignment, right? So do I want to spend $3,000 to $6,000 on a headboard? Is that something I value right now? And sometimes what our offers are, people might not value them at the time, right? Yes. So we have to be okay with that. That doesn't mean that our offers aren't valuable. It just means that we're talking to the wrong person, which also means that we need to fix our vetting and qualification process.
True. Well, and you never know how many times that the rejection of, I can't do this right now. I can't afford this. It's not in the budget, whatever the reason, the logical reason is, that if you keep in touch with that person and you seem to hit it off really well, and you don't assume that they hate you and they think that you're the worst person ever because you named an uncomfortably high number, odds are that they're going to come back around and be like, actually, I've been thinking about it a lot and I'm ready. So you can't take those rejections personally. I love that. And it's funny, you mentioned the gatekeepers, like the people that hoard the knowledge and they're like, well, yeah, I'm happy to provide you with that solution, but you got to pay me first. I think that they're really operating out of this scarcity mindset, which I kind of, I despise. Like, I used to be it, so I can say I despise it. I despise the way that I used to think. And if this is you, no hate. You were conditioned to believe this. I don't think that most of us grew up thinking that there's limited resources and we're fighting for them all. Like, the sky was the limit when we were all kids and we were all playing, right? But we're not fighting for a smaller and smaller piece of one pie. All of us have ingredients and can come together and make like the what's it called? World record, Guinness Book of World Records breaking pie, to where everybody can have as much pie as they freaking want just by all of us working together versus competing. So that was the first thing. And then I loved that you talked about curating. The word curate really stood out to me, making sure that you are deliberate in surrounding yourself with people that have either done what you want to do or are where you want to go, so that they can show you the way and show you what's possible. Brilliance.
I think that is one of the most important things that someone can do in business is to curate a group of people, whether that be based on revenue or whether that be based on personality traits, or you know what, just in like every aspect of life, right? In
Mm-hmm.
wellness, health, in business, in other things. And it's one of the best assets that you'll ever have, like building the relationships, because building the relationships, I believe is especially when you're selling higher ticket, is what's going to move the needle in your business more than even, social media, more than running ads, more than doing TikTok, more
Mm-hmm.
than, you know, even like, what is it? Cold calling, cold DMing, all of those things. Building a relationship is how you are going to move the needle in your business.
Absolutely. And like there's so many courses out there teaching you all of the lead gen methods, the ads, the here's a lead magnet, tripwire, blah, 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 all of this stuff. But I think that there are two types of people in business that are successful. I think there are lead gen people that are really good at cold contacting and selling like low volume or high volume, low ticket offers. Like they're really, really good at that. And then there's the category that I think I fall in, and it sounds like you fall into too, which is like we're relationship generators. I've had people ask me, "What's your niche?" And I jokingly, not so jokingly, say, "Working with cool ass people on a mission to do some good in the world who really give a damn about their people." And they're like, "That's a niche," and I'm like, "That's absolutely a niche."
Yes, it is. When people were talking, and this is why the niching thing, when it was like, I think I started my business around 2017, and I was always like, I don't want to niche to just one industry because I get bored quickly. Number
Mm-hmm.
one. And number two, I was like, I finally figured out that I could niche by mindset. And it was
Yes.
initially that I'm working with people who just want to get this stuff done and they want the best person to do it so that they can move on and go on and be great. That was initially what my niche was. Now, obviously, it's like this, basically the same thing that you said, like amazing people, impact driven people. And I wanted to mention earlier with the pricing, I think
Mm-hmm.
one of the issues with that also is that when you have integrity, it's hard out here. It is
Yes.
hard out here when you have integrity and you see all of these people like, how are they possibly selling this? I know I'm better. I know my offer is better. I know my framework is better, that I'm more intelligent, that I care more. But these people are out here making money. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling watching them make money. And I know that their program, because I've heard people talk about their programs and we've all heard it. We've all heard whatever industry you're in, we've heard it. Some of these people are not performing the way that they say they can. And they are really effing people's lives up.
Mm-hmm.
And you have integrity and you're not out here charging the money that you need to charge so that you can be the person that the world needs you to be.
Yes. Oh, I totally get that. I've lamented with many an entrepreneur friends of like, man, do you know how rich we could be if we just didn't give a damn? Like out here caring about people means that I struggle sometimes, which really freaking sucks. And like as a copywriter, if I had chosen to go into finance or health, which are the big two publishers where there are billions with a B amounts of dollars being thrown around, I would definitely be independently wealthy. But I am just not interested enough. And there are too many like gray areas that I don't feel comfortable with that I'm not going to go make money at all costs. Like lifestyle is important to me too. And I love that you brought up integrity because I think that there's like a value gap in there too when you don't have those people that you're surrounded with that show you what's possible and like what's valuable when you're talking to them about their clients. Because you think, $50,000 is a lot to charge for this project. Okay, but I made them like $3 million. Now does $50,000 sound expensive? No, it doesn't. But until you have somebody to show you that your reality isn't necessarily real. And that sounds kind of woo, but like I need to have this graphic made someday because I have the perfect graphic for it, which is to show somebody what looks like an empty room, like just a wall at the end of a hallway. How many people are in the room? People will say 0. Then if I flip it and you're looking at it from above and you see that this hall is T-shaped and there are people standing off in the wings, Your reality is not real. What you can see is limited. And just because you can only see this doesn't mean that there isn't something just around the corner out of your sight that's possible for you. And you don't get to even see that until you curate that network. You build those connections with people that are doing things that you want to do so that they can show you what's possible and change your reality.
Come on, Angie. Preach, Pastor Angie. What the heck? That was fantastic. And you're so right about that. And even along those journeys, curating those people also helps you with your value alignment within yourself. It helps inner work and shows you that some of these people aren't different than you, but what is it that they're doing different than you? And so it helps you figure those things out and realize that some of these people are unapologetic about what they want in life and they're going to go get it. They refuse to let anyone's opinions, and they refuse to watch and compare themselves, which is what we tend to do. And social media is an unhealthy place for all of us to be. I don't care what anybody says it's not a healthy place for us to be. It's fine if we want to go on there, we post, we engage, and then get the F off of it.
Yes.
But for us just to be hanging out, because I realized today have scrolled more than an hour on multiple social media platforms when I told myself, get off. So I'm going to work on myself. But seriously, it's not a healthy place for us to be. I said I lost 30 pounds because I got off social media. I mean, also I went plant-based, but I feel like that's a small part of it. Okay, but yeah.
I totally get that. And like, perspective is so valuable. And I think we don't give it the credit that it deserves. And especially in this, like, social media just kind of amplifies that, like, my perspective is right, your perspective is wrong. And like really forces us to like, or tells us that we have to like back into our own perspective. And that this is the one thing. I was talking to somebody recently that I had to pass on working with because the mindset was wrong. And I'll give you, I'm trying to anonymize this on the fly because this story just popped into my head. But like the high level overview is, oh my God, recession. Everything is hard. Prices have gone up. Everybody's spending. Gas costs too much. We're in danger of losing our house. Like all of this stuff. No, everybody's suffering right now. And I told this person, I'm not trying to sound contrarian. And imagine me coming up to you and giving you a great big hug and saying, not everybody is suffering. And that's not a good versus evil thing. That doesn't mean that like the evil people are winning and the good people are suffering. It is, I don't want to say purely, because there's a lot of like economic and social and
of course
classist stuff that impacts the abilities and the resources that people have. But I remember talking to this person and saying, well, I feel you because I grew up in similar circumstances. And once upon a time, I started a business doing something similar to you. So I totally feel all of these constraints that you're feeling. And at some point in time, I recognized, and like I've done the research on this since 1940 something, I can't remember, somewhere in the mid 40s, we've had 11 recessions. This is something that happens often to the point of being predictable, folks. It's not a surprise. Like you see people talking about it in the news well before it hits, and that probably even contributes to it being worse. We're not going to go there, but it's predictable. So if it's predictable, that means that there are these people that aren't suffering, that have set themselves up to weather this storm. What are they doing? To circle back to what you said, that's super brilliant. What are they doing that I'm not doing here? And I said, at some point, I decided I was done suffering through recessions. I was tired of crying and trying to figure out where I was going to get this month's rent payment from. I didn't want to be on that struggle bus anymore. So I started making friends with people that's like, oh, and obviously I didn't walk up to somebody and be like, you look like you're doing well during a recession. Please tell me what you're doing. This was like relationships built up over time. But I'd see folks that are continuing to have sales that are bringing in record sales during a recession. And I'd ask them, oh, what did you try? What are you doing differently this year? How are you setting yourself up for success? Here's what I'm trying. And it would be a natural organic discussion where they shared some of their secrets with me, and I'm better set up to weather the recession next time. And I could tell that this person was just resisting. So they weren't ready for that kind of coaching. But I said, just sit with it. I'm not asking you to change your minds, but I'm trying to plant a seed that I hope will grow. Not everybody is suffering right now. Not everybody needs to suffer right now. That's a bill of bullshit that we've all been sold by this, capitalist society that's raising good factory workers in our every kid's reduced to a freaking number of schools. But I'm up on the soapbox today.
No, but everything you're saying is so true, because I was having a conversation again yesterday, because I told you I was on the phone for 12 hours yesterday, nonstop talking. And one of the conversations I was having with a friend was that during the pandemic, she had some amazing months. During the pandemic, I had my highest growing months ever. And when I was running ads for one of my clients, when I say she was making money with a $11 to $30 product that nobody actually needs, like it was like pain management jewelry, like nobody actually needs that. And she was making bank because people were not there. Not everyone was suffering. Right. And then so my friend who owns Medi Spas, she was saying she was having amazing months because everybody was like just trying to feel better and make sure that they were better. But then also, who also made a ridiculous amount of money? The renovation, HGTV, like construction people, all of those people, everybody was renovating their houses. So yes, not everybody was struggling or suffering. Some people were making massive 2-story closets and renovating their kitchens and making play rooms and play houses. So not everyone was actually struggling, and not everyone is always struggling. Everyone is buying something. So definitely looking at it as there is someone out here who was like, I don't care what is going on in the world right now. This is what I need for my business. This is what I need for my life. And I am willing to do whatever it takes in order to make sure that these goals are achieved.
I love that. I think that's the perfect mindset. I'm willing to do what it takes, because it makes that resourcefulness kick in and it takes the blinders off, right? So that person, no judgment, no shade. They're probably like drowning in stress and anxiety and just like can't see the forest for the trees. I think we've all been in that situation before, but they've also got blinders on. Because while they're focused on the gas is too high and the prices are going up and nobody's spending, like that's literally all they have the bandwidth to see. They can't even see the other possibilities. So like this person has a side hustle selling stuff at festivals, and they're like, people aren't going to festivals anymore. I'm like, is that true? Or are they just not going to the festivals you're going to? Like, do you maybe need to find another festival and like build some uncomfortable relationships with people that are, different than you in a different area, new vendors, new things to learn, but the festivals aren't dead. People haven't stopped spending everywhere. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about, being willing to charge more so that you can help people if that's what you want to do. So like being resourceful enough to change your perspective and say, yep, there are still people over here that are going to buy. How can I pivot to go capture them? Okay, cool. I've stabilized my revenue. Now I can go help these other people that I know are suffering because I was suffering too.
Right. Oh. And you were saying that, and when you said it the first time, I was having a visceral reaction. I was like, yuck. Like the gas is too hot. Like people who are constantly complaining about that stuff drive me nuts. But it's okay. I'm really not around those people, so it's fine. But if I see it and this is why social media is an awful place to be, because you see everyone's opinions all the time. But yeah. One of the things that I wanted to mention, it reminded me of an exercise that we did in our entrepreneurship class. Was he told everybody to stand up, you had to partner up, and it's a great exercise to visualize what negative talk can do for you. So basically, you put your arms out sideways or in front of you, it doesn't matter. And then you say words like, I am, and then negative words after that. So like stupid, ugly, I can't do things like that. Say it, like you say it over, maybe I think in a row, like 3 or 5 times. And then somebody pushes down on your arms, right? And so typically your arms will fall very easily. But then when you come back, you're supposed to do a control test. So initially they're supposed to push down on your arms and you're supposed to not let them. Then you come back and you say those things and they push down on your arms and you're still not supposed to let them. But when I did it, my arms just fell. But then I in my head because I was like, I don't want to say those words. Those are awful words. So they didn't fall as hard, but it was interesting. But then I came back and I said, I am amazing. I am strong. I am this, like amazing, great things about yourself. And they did not fall, and they were stronger than the first control. So it shows you how negative self-talk, negative words, negative environments affect your body. So
yes.
It's even hard for you to work. It's hard for you to show up the way that you need to show up. So I encourage everyone to do that exercise, partner up with someone and do it on both sides and just see, because sometimes we need a visual representation of how things actually affect us.
Mm-hmm. And I think we have to actively work on swinging that pendulum, right? We are literally biologically wired for worst case scenario, because once upon a time, our life depended on being able to see the negative things that were happening around us so that we could get the hell away from the saber-toothed tiger that's about to eat us for lunch, right? I'm looking for negative things all the time, because that is my key to survival. So somewhere along the way, the saber-toothed tiger went away long before we were here. And we've, thanks to the miracle of modern technology and lots of hard workers and generational trauma before us, we are in a wonderful time of technology where we don't have to be that attuned to danger all the time. Like, there's another world of possibilities for us, but it takes some work to rewire your brain and not be focused on that like doom and gloom and everything is going to hell. And it ties back so beautifully to what you talked about earlier with like curating the people that you surround yourself with, because I'm not even necessarily talking about your business network, but I'm also talking about your personal network. Don't let friends into your life that are like, I don't even know why you're trying to start a business. That's real stupid right now in this economy. Put you on pause. We can talk later on when you feel more encouraged by my business, or maybe never again.
Never, yeah.
But like, I only want people in my corner that are going to talk me off the ledge instead of being like, it's great down here falling off the ledge. Come join us. No, I don't want to.
Right. You know, I wrote in this article that along with curating the people, you have to make sure that they are right. Because if you say, I want to make $100,000 next month, the first thing that, if you want to say, I want to make $100,000 next month, the only thing that people around you should say is, you can do it. And how can I help?
Yep.
And then also you have to have people around you who, when you say, dang, I only made 40,000 last month or 40,000 this quarter, you have to be around people who will say, okay, that's okay. How can we get you further? What did you do? What didn't go right? Because that number is what the majority of Americans make in a year, right? So sometimes you can't tell your goals to everyone.
Yes.
And so saying that you only made 40,000 in a quarter should inspire people to want to encourage you to go further. But there are some people that if you tell that to, they'll look at you like you're crazy. Like, only you could stop working all year, the rest of the year. And it's like, no. No,
you should be grateful for that, because some of us don't even get that. Like, well, exactly. I mean, I hear you and I am grateful for it.
And I am grateful.
And I want more. And there's nothing wrong with wanting more. And there's nothing wrong with wanting money from your business. Right. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be bougie. Damn it.
There really isn't. And I'm
feeling so ranty today.
I ran away from that for a long time because I've always been extra. I've always been more. I've always been a lot. And it was so hard not realizing, like when you're younger, not realizing that it really was a you problem, a them problem. Because people would say that to me and I'm like, I don't know what that means, because I did not have enough knowledge or experience to understand what a you problem meant. And it took me into my late 20s to understand what that meant. And then even into my 30s to really reconcile that it really wasn't me, that they wished. And I hate that I'm about to say this, but I'm going to say it. It's not, what I'm about to say is not me being cocky. And I hate that I had to say this isn't about me being cocky. That's why I said that, because I'm saying that they wished they could be me in those aspects, meaning they wished they had the confidence to wear heels. I wore heels in high school every day, not because I was trying to be anybody, but I was just trying to be me. I liked heels. I thought they were pretty. I wore bright colors. I wanted to enjoy myself. And I, even when it comes to even when I go to restaurants with some people, I'll order exactly what I want, how I want it. And people will look at me like, it's so difficult. And I'm like, I am, and I'm okay with that. And they should bring what I want because I want it. Like this is the hospitality industry, is it not? Okay, I'm here. You know what I mean? Bring on the hospitality, bring me the food the way that I want it. So it really sucks. And that's what I mean by story of like every woman's life. It's like we seem to make ourselves small because the world is constantly telling us that we don't matter, that we're too much, and it's too much. And it's important for us to be who we want. And along with the bougie, like I said before, I was scared to talk about it because I was like, I felt like, I mean, I knew I wasn't the only one because obviously we've got a whole luxury industry, right? We've got Lexus, we've got Audemars Piguet, we've got, yachts and private jets. So I knew I wasn't alone, but it felt like I was alone in my sector because I'm not there yet.
When you don't have people that are in that world, it seems like impossible. It seems like a pipe dream, something that you see on TV that's not even real.
And it's not. And I realized that once I started saying that I am here for the people who want to live their best and bougie's lives, when I started saying I am here for the woman who wants a doula when she has a child, who for 3 to 6 months, who wants to hire a nanny, because again, we talked about how I'm on this journey to shed everything that society has ever put on me. I'm here for those women to let them know that raising a child requires a community. Raising yourself requires a community.
Yes.
And being able to pay for convenience, there's nothing wrong with that. Just because you came from a household of people who were like, we have enough, or don't dream too high. Just because you came from that household doesn't mean that that's the truth. That's their truth, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be theirs either. But are you willing to sit there in a life that you don't want, or do you want to figure out a way to get to where it is you want to be? So when I started talking to the people who were my people, everything changed. I got amazing clients. I love talking to them. They became friends, and I stand in that every time I'm in a presentation, a virtual mixer, I meet someone. I always talk about best and bougiest because that is everything that I want. I want to have someone to do my makeup. I want to get my hair done every week because I don't like to do my own hair. Okay.
Me either.
There are things that I want that some people think are frivolous. But again, I also am a Taurus, and I luxury and comfort. And if it's not, that means it's not luxury. So all of the things that I want in my life, I want to not like it. I don't want it to be hard. I want it to be beautiful, and I want to enjoy it. And if I want Carrara marble in my kitchen instead of quartz, because everybody talks about how Carrara marble is porous, and I know I'm getting off topic, but it's like you have to seal it. And it's like, well, I'll find someone to seal it. If I have Carrara in my kitchen, I have enough money to find somebody to seal it for me every 3 months if necessary. So it's like, what is the life that you want? Let's find the people who are living that life, who are on their way to living their life, and who are who are unapologetic about what they want and how they're going to spend their time and money. And let's surround ourselves with those people, and not the people who are gas.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I think this is the final piece of the puzzle that just like brings it full circle, everything that we've been talking about. I'm about to blow y'all's minds if you're listening to this. You ready? Money isn't real. Tell me where in the world you can go dig up money. Tell me in the world where you could pick money off a tree. Money is a construct. We invented it. It is literally value, especially now that we don't even really do like dollars and coins anymore. It's not even, it's just data bytes traveling all over the internet. It's not real. It blew my mind when my stepfather said, it's just money. I can make more. I'm not worried about it. And that was the first step on my journey to undoing all of this shit because it's not real. I can just make more.
Yeah, I love that. And it is just money. And it sounds weird, especially depending on where you are in your journey, but it sounds weird because it's like we need it to live, right?
Yeah.
We need it to buy things and stuff like that. But I think it's the level of, I don't know if if it's the right word, if it's the level of value that we give it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I don't know how to explain it because I don't think the word is value. It's like, we
attach all our worth to it and like judgment.
Yes, but it's our worth that we attach. It's not even just the money's worth or the money's value. It's like our worth we attach to. And that's why I was so sad before when I was like, how can I make my clients $30,000 a month and I can't even make myself that much money? Like I was internalizing that and it was about me. It wasn't even about them. It was like, I'm clearly not as good as I think I am if I can do this for my clients, but I can't do this for myself.
Or you have those weird mental blocks that I think every business owner said. Like I've joked about this with my own coach, which was like, well, clearly I've given this advice to hundreds of business owners and it works for all of them, but not for me. I am clearly the special unicorn snowflake that my own advice doesn't apply to. I need a crazy out of the box solution that applies to no one else versus keeping it simple and sticking to what I already know works. But I'm so busy working in my business that I'm not really working on my business. And that perspective, it goes back to that network. That's why they can go, you know that you do this for your clients, right? What would you say if you were advising a client in this situation? I'd go, oh, X, Y, Z. Those are the steps. Yeah. And my friends go, Angie, have you X, Y, Z'd? And I would go, no.
Exactly. Freaking marketers.
Oh, I know.
And that's what I said to myself. Ashleigh, there were two things that I said to myself. I was like, number one, what if you just without fear, just did it, regardless of, with the fear, you did it anyway. And two, if you followed your own advice, if you did for yourself what you do for your clients, what could happen? And it's just like, I'm sure so much, but oh my gosh,
man,
that's a lot of work. That's like, I'm kind of coasting now. Do I really want to, And it's like, but you do want to live the life. So, because I'm here to give people options. And I think that's the thing that the overarching goal of mine is to have options. I just want options, do or not do, to be or not be, and to be able to pay for the convenience of something, or to, if I wanted to go to the beach and sit on the beach for 5 more weeks instead of leaving that day. You know what I mean? It's just like, I can do that. Or if I wanted to go somewhere else, or if I want to get up and like make sure that I can send, because gifts and acts of service are my love language, make sure is grieving, I can, and I don't know them, or maybe I do know them, but I can send them, food for the next month or two, without to think about it. It's like having the option to be and do the things, be the person you want to be and do the things that you want to do.
Yep. I think we got to change that narrative from can I do this to how can I do this? Because you absolutely can. That's like the perfect note to end on too. We got all soapbox ranty. It's fantastic. So want to have you tell us more about your business and where we can learn more about you? Because I imagine people are excited about your brand of digital marketing now.
Awesome. Yes, you can find me on Instagram. That is the best way to like have more conversations with me. It's in the DMs. And please, if you follow me, please DM me and say hi. Please, because people follow me and like I will reach out sometimes, but sometimes it's just like, I know you followed me for a reason. I'm very friendly. I'm nice. And I like, and we can definitely do a coffee chat. I call them sparkling water chats because I do not drink coffee or tea, but I enjoy getting to know people. I think it's fun. And then also you can find me at makeyourmarkconsulting.com/the-fun-stuff. But that link is bio also. But if you ever wanted to email me, you can do theoffice@makeyourmarkconsulting.com. And just a fun fact, I was freaking out over what to name like my admin office, my admin email. And I had been watching The Office so long, and I was like, The Office, that makes a lot. My first one is Maximus, and it's because I love Gladiator. The movie. It's really fun, but yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm going to make sure that they have clickable links to all of these in the show notes. Go, stalk, follow, be part of the world. Talk about building your network with people that will show you what's possible. Listen to everything that we talked about today. I'm telling you. And thank you so much for being on the show.
And one more thing, if you are looking to automate your visibility and automate your authenticity, and you may not know what that is, but you can find some information on my Instagram about that, by running ads. Because again, I'm here to give you options, and I'm here to make sure that marketing is not hard for you, because yuck, right?
Yes.
Not here for the pointing. I am not here. Like, I've done some reels, so they're on there, but I just kind of feel like they're kind of a waste of time. Just that's we've got a strategy. They can work. It just depends on, I'm just like, what can I do so that I can be present without physically being present? And that is ads for your girl. So if that's follow me on Instagram, hit me up on the DMs, and I would love to talk to you.
Fantastic. Thank you again so much for being on the show. We're going to have to do a part 2 or a recurring segment, or just good old fashioned rants. I love it.
Yay.
So that is it. Another awesome episode of Permission to Kick Ass on the books. If you want to know more about the show, if you want to know more about me, Angie Coley, and the mission I'm on to help entrepreneurs punch fear in the face and do big, bold things, then head on over to permissiontokickass.com. That is all one word together, permissiontokickass.com. Make sure to sign up for my email list so that you know whenever there's a hot, fresh, and ready podcast episode out for you. And also on Mondays, I like to send out a little newsletter called Kick Monday's Ass. I'm sure you're totally surprised by that. So thank you for being here with me today. I'm Angie Coley. Make sure that you share this with a friend that needs to hear this message today. Like it, share it, comment wherever you're listening to this today, and let's go kick some ass.